Hello there. It is early October 2024, and we will just move on to so the old flowers have kind of gone by the wayside here. Certainly these black-eyed Susans are pretty spent. It's been raining for, it seems like, a week or two, so a lot of things are croaking out with mold, mildew, and blight. And fungus, of course, is all, I think, interrelated. But I got rid of the old cabbage there. It produced out. I did plant some cilantro in here, try to take out most of the weeds. Hopefully that's starting to sprout. It does tend to like cooler temperatures. And the old line of tomatoes there, pretty much done. I've been picking some green ones. But it held out pretty well for production. And so, the kale is still doing awesome. I'm getting some inroads of attack with bugs. There is the beetle, harlequin beetle, that loves all the cruciferous vegetables. A few of those got in there and already laid some eggs. And those tomatoes that were over there are all gone. I do have a thornless blackberry over there, thanks to my son-in-law and daughter. Sure, we'll still have a lot of cleanup to do. Got raspberries that, done pretty well, but there's a lot of raspberry blight fungus going on. You can see those that just kept getting rained on, so they're about dead. Most of their production actually is pretty dead. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that left, raspberries, but most of it has suffered from early death. The berry is just rotting. You can see got some here. And those are still good. I'm not really doing much of this side of the garden. There's some random strawberries growing in there. It needs to be cleared out, weeds. The asparagus, well, doing okay. It's pretty much dying out. The grapes over here, they, didn't ripen all at the same time. They're a seeded Concord. And, I just haven't been happy with them, but we've picked some this year. And strawberries are still holding out. I lost a lot due to the intense heat of summer without rain. And I've since put in some more mulch, and they're coming back with all that rain. Over here I did have some Swiss chard that was seeding out. You might remember that before. I've cut that back or pulled it out, and I currently have some growing still and some old seeding out basil. I did manage to plant some, what are they called? Do I remember? Baby bok choy, that's what they are down here. And trialing that here. I put that in earlier. I put some in over here too. That's kind of coming on well. I put cages in here to keep the cats from digging around, but not everywhere. I do have some slug damage. Matter of fact, slugs and bugs appear to be my worst enemy, as they've taken out some of my squash. I have couple surviving squash. This variety here doesn't produce a lot, but it is still managing to hold on. We remember with all that rain, I lost a lot. I went ahead and planted some more chard down here. figuring that I would lose this squash and the chard would come up. The squash hasn't died. These squash haven't died, but I expected them to go. But they give them some shade so they can sprout and start coming along. This bed of squash was doing pretty good just a few days ago. And with all that rain, it looks like it just crumped with fungus. And I did lose several squash. This one's about ready to die because of, it's been like a slimy substance growing on the root base here. This one I thought was doing quite healthy, but you can see it really died out just a few days ago. I also replanted some basil over here underneath the squash at the time, gave it some shade. Actually, I think I did transplant some basil here. But certainly lost a lot of squash. This replant of cucumbers did pretty well. I mean, I was excited to have some more cukes the other day. Picked about 6, 7 the other day. Now the cukes have their blight that's coming on strong. You can see it's beating that out pretty bad. But it's still, the cucumbers are managing to grow a little bit over survival, at least anyway over here. I hope I get a few more cucumbers. Now this was from a second planting. I plant more just to get a little bit more of a harvest. This year I think it was worse than average just because of the rain, too much of the rain. I have some garlic I need to take out and replant here and there. These are garlics I just did not pick. They weren't that big, so I left them here. Yeah, as far as with all the mulch, I feel like I created a great environment for slugs and sow bugs. And because they just hide out in there and all that rain. Didn't see any in there, but they're around. Matter of fact, they ate out, there they are, yeah. They ate out some of my squash. They ate the root out. They went right after the root and kept eating the root and kept eating the root. And just destroyed it from the root. Lost several that way. Over here, this was my little experiment of watermelon versus sweet potato. Yeah. And the sweet potato appears to be winning out. And watermelon, I do believe this is ripe. I have, when this little stem here dies out, right there, I believe that means this little watermelon's ripe. It's a little baby one. I don't mind little size watermelons. But certainly the sweet potatoes have taken over. Watermelon's kind of croaking. So we'll be digging up some sweet potatoes here. I planted that, I want to say that was June, mid-June, when we planted that. And that was getting planted underneath a tomato bed. So I had about 21 tomatoes growing in here. And mid-June, there were determinate tomatoes that kind of crop out and die mid-July. And then these just, after I pulled out the tomatoes, these finally just kind of took off. I got a head start, a little bit of shade and moisture, and certainly took off after the tomatoes were taken out. So this cherry tomato bed, planted 5, 9, 10, I think it was like 14 cherry tomatoes in there. They're pretty toast. Obviously need to clear out that bed. I did manage to plant some green beans. I think it was September, early September. I planted green beans. And certainly I've harvested a little bit from this one. And I have more to harvest shortly. I also have another bed green beans I planted in September. And I really enjoyed that because we've already eaten some, and we'll have a lot of flowers and be eating some more shortly. Our last living tomato, this was the Brandywine that still has a few tomatoes on it. They don't produce much. I only think I got like 2 tomatoes that were pretty good off that one. I'm just not sure it's worth growing again. I think with all the blight that occurs here, it's been pretty tough. This bed I planted, got some lettuce going, not much really. I need to rework this bed. And some more basil flowering out. I'm going to save some seeds here shortly. And some more garlic. Not much going on in this bed. I kind of just threw some of this flowering chard in here, and whatever comes off the end there should start growing here shortly. And just had to clear out some beds. This is some Cuban basil. I can't remember exactly what they call it. It's more like oregano. Maybe it's called Cuban oregano. I don't know. It has a unique flavor. It's like a succulent, and how thick. I'm not sure what I would use it for, but it was given to me. So I grow it every year. But it kind of tastes like, not sure. Tastes like thyme and oregano and parsley. I don't know. It's a weird flavor. Anyway, well, thanks for hearing me out. I think I'll be planting much of anything else. Just because, hey, November's coming. November, December. I think next year I might be willing to try to plant some tomatoes again. Just as an experiment to see if they make it with all the blight and all that. But one more bed of tomatoes, probably late July, because that'll give me August, September, October. I'll be picking tomatoes now. But it's all about blight here in my garden, and it's pretty cruel. I don't know if it's the soil or what. Anyway, I'm going to start enjoying a little bit of the greenhouse, though, because I'll be starting to put a few things in there just to see how they do for winter growth. Anyway, Tim signing off. Thank you.